What on earth did they feed this cat? Extreme obesity has hit the animal kingdom. Here are the top 10 fattest animals ever seen. Number 10. Cassie. The border collie is anyone who's ever had a dog will know. They will quite happily eat anything they can get their paws on. And if you fall into the trap of giving them too many treats, they'll soon begin to pile on the pounds. Cassie, the border collie, is an extreme example of this. After having owners who fed her a diet of takeout, roast dinners, and even chocolate, at the age of 7, she had spent her entire life being accustomed to eating human food. But this came at a massive cost. Not only did she weigh 9 stone or 126 pounds, but she began developing serious health complications. When her elderly owner became ill, she was taken in by a canine care trust, and it took 3 people just to lift her. She was put on a strict diet of 2 bowls of dry food per day, and amazingly lost half of her weight in just 6 months. Number 9. Goldfish. Goldfish are thought of as the easiest fish to look after on a tank, and are often the first that any budding aquarium enthusiast will have. But they have a propensity to keep on growing and can soon become far too fat. There's an illness called dropsy that can result in them looking swollen, and almost like they're about to explode. But overweight goldfish don't necessarily suffer from this, as descendants from carp. It's possible for them to become supersized, much bigger than the 10 or 11 inches long that they can become in a tank. They'll also continue to eat food if it's given to them, so it's extremely important to only feed them a small amount each day. If they put on too much weight, their bodies will become bulbous. Their eyes may even be covered over, so they can't see. And on some occasions they'll begin to swim upside down because their swim bladders don't function properly. Number 8. Mabel the pig. Pigs aren't exactly known for being picky eaters, and healthy ones will have a few rolls of fat on their body. But Mabel, a potbelly pig from Boston, had been overfed virtually her entire life. When the rescue officers took her from her owner's home, she weighed a whopping 196 pounds, which is more than twice what you should have been. She was so heavy that the rolls of fat covered her eyes, and being unable to even stand up, her immobile life was making her extremely depressed. Luckily, she was rescued in time, with officials needing a backboard to lift her from the house. She was taken to a nearby farm where she was put on a regulator diet and soon began to lose weight. And that's what her former owner. This wasn't the first animal that she had mistreated when authorities began actions to prosecute her, and hopefully prevent her from having any pets ever again. Number 7. Darius the rabbit. How big is the largest rabbit you've ever seen? There are different breeds that naturally grow to differing sizes, but the biggest in the world is called Doris, who's a continental giant. Incredibly, he's 4 feet, 4 inches long and weighs 49 pounds. And as you can imagine, taking care of an animal like this is no easy task. The family who owns him have another, which is almost the same size as well, and according to them, it costs them more than $7,000 per year to feed them both. This includes 2,000 carrots and 700 apples, as well as a bowl of specialized rabbit food each day, and a bale of hay every week. Luckily for them, it's perfectly healthy for this breed to grow to this size, but they won't get any bigger. Rabbits have a specific time window during which they bulk up, and once it's passed, they stay like that for the rest of their lives, as long as they're fed or regulated diet. Number 6. Lion the hamster. Hamsters are naturally chubby animals, particularly when they are storing food in their cheeks, but it's very easy for them to become overweight when they spend their lives in a cage. The main reason for this is a lack of exercise. Having a wheel isn't necessarily enough because not all hamsters will spend a lot of time on it. They are also used to bulking up when there's plenty of food in preparation for the colder months when there's not so much available. So when they have continuous supply, they'll put on weight fast. Lion the hamster is a great example of this, and at just a year old, he had become at least twice the size that he should have been. Luckily in his case, he was able to move and climb by the time his owners took steps to reduce his intake, but not all hamsters are so fortunate. Number 5. Raccoon. While many people see raccoons as nothing more than pests, there are plenty who love the creatures and even keep them as pets. This is, however, it needs to be done carefully because just like every other animal that's kept in captivity, they can soon put on a lot of weight if their diet and exercise isn't carefully monitored. Pet raccoons face a further problem than cats or dogs because they are any specially formulated foods that have been designed in the wild. They'll be constantly active and eat food that they have evolved to hunt, but in someone's home, they will shout down on anything they're given, which is usually dog food. And this is designed for a different species. It doesn't provide raccoons with the particular nutrients they need. And if combined with a sedentary life, they'll soon become as round as a ball and will get to a place where they can't walk on their legs and have to pull themselves across the floor. Number 4. Kookaburra. Kookaburra are a species of tree kingfisher that are native to Australia and New Guinea. They spend their lives in a range of environments where they search for insects to eat. But despite being closely related kingfishers, they don't spend so much time on the water, growing up to 17 inches long and weighing on average 10.5 ounces. Their small bodies aren't designed to handle too much weight, so if they manage to overeat, they can develop some serious problems. This kookaburra that was recorded in 2017 is about twice the body size as it should be. And despite being hassled by the homeowner, it doesn't seem to be able to fly away. According to them, the bird had hopped onto the balcony from a nearby tree, and the only way they were able to return it to the forest below was by taking it down in the elevator. Perhaps this fat bird was able to fly, but unsurprisingly, it was quite happy to take the easy road back to its home. In recent years, instances of seeing overweight individuals have become increasingly frequent thanks to the availability of waste food around human communities. And unless steps are taken to contain garbage more effectively, it'll continue to become a place. Number 3. Great white shark. Great white sharks are the most ferocious predators in the ocean, and there's hardly anything that they can hunt down if they've set their minds to it. If you've ever been lucky enough to go cage diving with one, you'll know just how big they can be, with larger individuals growing to around 20 feet long and weighing up to 5,000 pounds. This doesn't mean they can't get even bigger when they've managed to find a massive of food or when they're pregnant. However, if you ever encounter one of these fish, you'll be left wondering whether the cage is strong enough to protect you. This monster great white was seen in 2015 during a dive off the coast of South Africa, and as you can see, she's clearly had her fill of the local seal population. She's a typical length for the species, but her bulk is far greater than you'd normally expect to see. Those on the dive estimated she was definitely heavier than the 5,000 pounds. The largest ones typically weigh and could potentially be much more. You can tell she's grown beyond her ideal size because of her slow movement through the water, and it almost seems as if she's struggling to swim. It's most likely that she's in the latter stages of pregnancy too, which could account for her lethargy. Still, this is one fish you definitely wouldn't want to be in the water with. Number 2. Obi the Dachshund. There's no doubt that Dachshunds are one of the cutest breeds of dog, with a range of different colors and hair types. It's almost impossible to not be taken in by their charms. But like with other dogs, they don't know their limits and will continue to eat fatty foods if they are available. It's not unusual to see chubby sausage dogs out for walks, and some have bellies that almost reach the ground, especially if they have short legs. This poses a particular problem because the breed is renowned for having delicate spines, so being overweight can lead to significant issues later in life. Possibly the fattest dachshund in the world, at least for several years, was Obi. It was owned by an elderly couple who were unable to take them out for many walks, showed their affection towards him by giving him treats, which resulted in the poor dog ballooning to a whopping 77 pounds, which is 3 times the weight he should have been. It got to the point where he couldn't even get up to walk or respond to anyone, and realizing things had got way out of control, his owners gave him up for adoption. He was taken in by a trainee vet who set up a crowdfunding campaign to help raise funds to take care of him. The immediate goal was for him to lose 40 pounds, something that was managed by regular exercise and carefully planned diet. And then, at that point, he underwent surgery to remove the excess skin. Now, Obi is a perfectly healthy weight and looks just like any other dots on it. He's proved that no matter how out of control an animal's weight gets, there's always a way to reverse the trend with enough effort. Number 1. Neville the pixie frog. The American bull frogs, which are also known as pixie frogs, thanks to their scientific name, that sounds similar, are large species that are native to most countries in Africa. They can be found living in a wide range of habitats, from the dry savannas and scrublands to lakes, canals, and ditches. But those that are kept in captivity tend to put on a lot more weight than they would do. Normally, the reason for this is that they're used to having to take food when it's available in the wild, because they never know for sure when they'll be able to eat next. This, of course, isn't a concern when they're being kept as a pet, but don't know that, so we'll still eat every bit of food that's on offer. Usually they weigh up to 3 pounds, but it's not unheard of for them to reach 4 or 5 pounds in a tank. Not only do they eat more, but they don't get the opportunity for as much exercise, so they won't burn off the calories anywhere near as quickly. As you can see, this results in individuals that will barely move to get their food, and when they do, it seems as if they struggle. They don't seem capable of moving around on their legs and instead resemble a ball rolling forward on their bellies.